Hello, my friends. It is time for another episode of Watch Sailor Moon Learn Japanese. So this is actually part 5, I think. I really should do my research before I press record. I think this is part 5 in the series that I'm doing where I break down the very first episode of Sailor Moon Classic and I teach Japanese through it, one word at a time. So if you haven't already seen the first 4 or 5 installments of this series yet, go check them out because some of the grammar rules and the words that I'm covering in this installment of this series, I have covered in past installments and I don't want to spend too much time repeating myself. But if you're all caught up, stay tuned. We're going to pick up where we left off last time with Usagi coming home with her 30% English test.
Tadaima! おかえりなさい。遅かったじゃないの？ちょっとね。
So Usagi says tadaima and her mom says okaeri nasai. So those two are just words that people say when they come home and when they welcome someone home. It's not even necessarily home. It can be if you're coming back from wherever you were. In this case, she's coming home from school and she's saying tadaima and her mom is saying okaeri nasai or okaeri to welcome her back. And then her mom says osokatta janai no. So osokatta is the past tense of osoi, which means late or slow. So in this case, it means late. Osoi is present tense, late. Osokatta, you drop the e and you change it to katta, and that's how you change is slow to the past tense. Was slow or was late. So was late, janai no. In past installments of this, I've covered that if you kind of end a sentence with a statement with janai no, it's more like, isn't it the case that, ... It's not the case that, and then it negates it with the janai. It's janai no. It's like, isn't it the case that, blah, blah, blah. So, osokatta janai no means, like, aren't you a little late getting home? Why did it take you so long? Usagi responds with chotto ne. So, chotto ne, chotto literally means a little, but if you say chotto ne, it means, you know, ... I had reasons. You know, it's this very vague way of answering without really answering.
さっきそこで海野くんに会ったわよ。テスト返してもらったんだって。
Ikuko mama, her mom, Ikuko, says saki soko de. So saki means earlier. Soko de means like over there. And if you watch my video on kosoado, explaining all of those words, soko means over there where you, the listener, are. So basically soko de, because Usagi's was standing outside of the house, her mom's like, oh yeah, I just out there, like just outside the house. I, umino-kun, so umino, ni atta wayo. So X ni atta means I met X. So umino-kun ni atta means I met Umino. I met up with him. So earlier, just out there, I met up with Umino. I just kind of saw him. He stopped by. He was walking by the house on his way home, probably. Wayo is that very, feminine way of ending a sentence with strong emphasis. Like, wayo, like, yes, I know this to be true. I am not being vague at all. Testo, as we went over earlier, means like midterm exam or test, but it's a more important test than a quiz.
Hey, just stepping over my mistake in post here. Kaeshite is the te form of kaesu, which is a verb that means to return. And then if you add moratta to the end of a te form of a verb, it means that you have somebody do a verb for you.
That means it adds emphasis. So testo kaeshitanda means, oh yeah, those tests were totally returned. And then the small tsu followed by the te, as you may recall, is you're sort of quoting what somebody else said. So testo kaeshitanda is like a sentence in quotes. And then te is noting, well, Umino said that to her. Umino said, testo kaeshitanda. Like, oh, they returned, your test got returned to you from the teacher.
海野くん95点だったってね。そうすごいね。
And then 95点だってね. So again, this 95点だ means 95%. And then small tsu te is like, oh, he said he got a 95% on his test. And then ne is like, whoa, cool, huh? So, hey, I just ran into Umino outside and he said that you guys got your test back and that he got a 95%. And then Usagi, she's playing innocent. She goes, so. Like, oh, really? Sugoi ne. We went over this in a former episode, so maybe you know what that means? It means, wow, isn't that amazing? Wow, I'm impressed. And then inside her mind, umi no yatsu. So yatsu means like it's a rude word, like a fiend or a cad. And then if it's umi no yatsu, it's the same. We went over earlier mama no baka in one of the earlier installments. It doesn't mean mama apostrophe s baka, it just means mama you baka. So umi no yatsu does not mean umi no apostrophe s yatsu. It just means umi no you yatsu. So umi no you bastard. Bera bera is a sound effect for blabbing. Pera pera or bera bera, blabbing sound effect. Shabennayo. So that is the like casual contraction, lazy Japanese form of shaberu na. Yo. So shaberu, the ru changes to un. So shaberu na yo, shabennayo. So shaberu na. Shaberu by itself means to talk. Shaberu na, like if you're saying shaberu na to somebody, it means don't talk. So shaberu na yo, it's like, hey, don't talk. Shabenna yo, bera bera shabenna yo, it's like, hey, umi no, you bastard, don't blab about it.
で、うさぎは何点だったの？いや、それが実はなんだ、見せて。
Then her mom says, de? So if you're just saying de with a question mark, it means so. Usagi wa nanten datta no? So here's an example. You may notice a lot if you watch a lot of anime that people often use a person's name in place of a pronoun. Like a lot of people use their own name in place of I and me, and it also happens with you. So her mom is saying literally, Usagi, how many points did you score? Nanten is what score datta was. So what score did you get? But she's saying, what score did Usagi get? Usagi wa, like as for Usagi, what score did she get? But she's not actually saying that. She's just using Usagi's name in place of the pronoun you, which is not uncommon to do in the Japanese language. So in English, we would translate that as, what did you get? Or what did you get, Usagi? Here's a long string of filler words that you say if you want to avoid answering a question. Usagi's like doing all of them. It's a crash course. So, aya, sore ga, jitsu wa, nanda, sono. It's like, oh, that's like everything that you can say to kind of delay giving an answer. It's like, well, the thing is, you see, It's basically any kind of filler way that you start a sentence when you're avoiding answering a question. And then her mom says, misete. So miseru is to show. Misete is the imperative form, like, please show. And she has a question mark, misete. It's like sweetly, please show me, my darling precious daughter, who I'm about to kill because I just know that you're hiding something from me.
Hi.
And then Usagi reluctantly goes, hi, which does not mean yes in this case. It means here, here you go. And then her mom goes, Usagi, and sets herself on fire. And then Usagi says, hi. So in this case, hi does mean yes. It's like, hi, yes. Yes, mommy dearest. And then her mom says, konna ten. So again, if you saw my Kosoado video, if you haven't seen that, go see that video. It's very informative about all of the words that are very basic that you learn in Japanese 1. Konna ten. So 10 we already disclosed is points, a score, a grade on a test. Konna means this kind of grade, this kind of score that you got, that is in this test that I'm holding in my hands. So konna ten totte kite. So we already went over in previous videos that ten o toru means like to get, toru, a score, 10. So ten totte kite. So totte kuru means to take, to get the score and then to come home with it, because kuru is like to come. So totte kuru, konna ten totte kuru, it means you, this kind of score, you take it and you get it and then you bring it home with you. And then you're just changing the kuru to the te form, kite. So she's just going to follow that up with some more words. So, konna ten totte kite, this kind of score, bring it home with you. Mo means mo o uchi ni irete agenai wa. So ouchi is home, our home, our house. Ouchi ni ireru means to let someone into your home. So ouchi ni irete agenai. Irete ageru means like I am letting you in and it is a kind thing that I'm doing because I'm adding ageru to the end of the word. Irete agenai means I will not. It means the opposite. I will not let you in my house. You are no longer welcome in my house, young lady. And that's what that mo at the beginning of that phrase adds to it. It's like, no more will you be allowed in my house. So, こんな点取ってきて. It's like, with grades like this, you are no longer welcome in my home, missy. Then Usagi whines, mama, which we went over in a previous video. That's more like just mom. It's not mama. We don't really talk like that in American English unless you're like 2 years old. And then Ikuko says, shirimasen. And we went over that in the previous video as well. I think it was shiranai. So if someone just shouts shirimasen or shiranai wa yo at you, and it's not in response to a question. Like if I ask you, like, what's the capital of Syria? And you're like, shiranai wa yo, that means I don't know, man. But if we're having a fight and you kick me out and you just yell, shiranai wa yo, you're not literally saying, I don't know. What you're kind of implying is, I don't know you anymore. Or get your face out of my house. Or don't come crying to me. I don't care. See if I care. It has that sort of meaning to it. It doesn't literally mean I don't know in this case. So shiranai wa yo means like, don't come crying to me, or you're disowned. Like, I don't know you anymore. And then Shingo makes his first appearance, Usagi's brother, voiced by the same VA who does Sailor Pluto, incidentally. Some trivia. So Shingo says, 何やってんだよ? That means, what the hell are you doing? Baka Usagi, stupid Usagi. Mata shime dashi kutte yanno? Very slangy, right? So let's break this down. Mata means again. Shime dashi means to be shut out. So shime, that root verb comes from shimeru, which means to close. And then dashi means like to put out. So you're closed out. So you're shut out, basically. Shime dashi. Kutte yanno. So again, it's slangy. So shime dashi kutte yanno is like what? Oh, you're being shut out again? Oria. So that is slangy ore wa. Or orega, orewa. But if you're slangy, oria. It's just like a slangier way of contracting those words together. So oria, mo skoshi, a little bit more. Deki no ii. So deki no ii means like a well-made or a like competent, capable. So deki comes from dekiru, which means to be able to do something. So deki no ii means like literally, it's sort of like a good can do, but it really means like capable. So deki no ii ane, older sister. So deki no ii ane means like a more capable older sister. Ga hoshii ne. So if you say X ga hoshii, anything ga hoshii, it means I want X, I want anything. So deki no ii ane ga hoshii, it means I want a more capable older sister. And then the ne is like, you know, man. So, 俺はもう少しできのいい姉が欲しいね. It's like, man, I wish I had a more capable older sister. And then Usagi yells, Anta! And that's a rude-ish / familiar, only do this with people with whom you are close, way of saying you. So, Anta, like, hey, you. Ototo no kuseni. So ototo means little brother. And then I think I went over this in a former video, but if you add no kuseni, I did go over it in a former video. Remember when Usagi was closed outside the classroom for getting to school late and then eating her lunch in class, and then Naru-chan afterwards is saying like, onna no kuseni hayabe nante sa, when she was saying, Usagi, you were, for a girl, like, you're giving us girls a bad name for eating your lunch early in the classroom. So this ex no kuseni means, hey, you're this thing. You are my younger brother. And even though you're my little brother, you're doing this thing that you shouldn't be doing that's atypical. And it's usually, an insult. If you're saying something no kuseni, you're insulting somebody. So ototo no kuseni nani yo? So nani yo is like, what the hell? It's like, thanks for sticking up for me, little brother. That's kind of what that means. Seira v kick. Sailor v kick. And then she hits herself and hurts herself and screams, itai! So itai is an adjective which means to hurt. So instead of just going ouch, they say that hurts, literally. Mama onegai, mom, please. Irete yo. So do you remember irete? Ireru? O uchi ni irete agenai. I will not let you inside. So irete yo. What does that mean? It means, come on, let me in. All right, now we are back at the jewelry shop, at Naru-chan's mom's jewelry shop, and everyone's getting their energy zapped. So the woman says, hen ne. Hen means strange, ne, man, yeah, So, wow, how strange. Nandaka sort of means, it's kind of hard to describe, but memai ga. So memai means like you're feeling dizzy, things are going blurred in your vision. So memai ga ... This is a prime example of how in Japanese you don't have to really ever finish your sentences, and everyone kind of knows what you're talking about. If I were to finish that sentence, it would be memai ga suru, which means like I am having a dizzy spell. But I can drop the suru, that verb suru at the end, and you can glean from context that I'm saying, I feel like, hard to describe, but I'm like dizzy somehow. And it comes across in context. Then the other woman says, chikara ga. Chikara means strength or energy. Nukeru wa. So nukeru means to leave out, to omit, to like have leave, to escape, for something to slip out of you. So chikara ga nukeru means like, my energy is like is draining or slipping out of me. And then the wa is like a very like feminine way of ending your sentence. And then Naru, who is not wearing the jewelry and therefore not affected by its powers, she says minna, which means everyone. Kyuni means all of a sudden. Doshita no kashira. So doshita means what happened. So minna kyuni doshita means what happened to everyone suddenly. You just rearrange those backwards. And then if you end the sentence with no kashira, that is a feminine, sort of upper classish way of just asking a question. If you were not feminine or upper class, it would just be no kana instead of no kashira. Kashira is very like ojo-san. It's like very young lady kind of way of speaking. And as we established earlier, Naru-chan is, I think, a little bit more upper class, or at least she's being raised that way by her mom. Ne mama. Hey mom. Mama, mom. And then Morga reveals herself. And she says daibu. That means like a fair amount. Energy ga, so energy, ga atsumatta. So atsumatta, atsumaru, atsumeru, we went over that verb a lot in previous installments, so you probably remember it. If you don't, it means to gather or to collect. So energy ga atsumatta means energy gathered. Energy has been gathered. I've gathered energy. So daibu energy ga atsumatta means like, I think I've gathered a fair amount of energy. I've gathered quite a bit of energy. And then Usagi is finally inside, and she says, and she says, yatto irete moraeta. So yatto means finally. Irete means to let inside. moraeta. So, a verb plus morau. The te form of a verb plus morau means to have. So to morau means to take. So if it's irete morau, it means to have somebody let you in. Just ireru means to go in, but irete morau, like okasan ni irete morau, means to have your mom let you inside the house. So irete moraeru means to have the ability to, like am able to have your mom let you into the house. And then irete moraeta, you're changing that to past tense. So it means I was finally able to have my mom let me inside. Ippai means a lot. Naita means, it's the past tense of to cry. So naku is to cry, and then the past tense of that is naita, so cried. Ippai naita means cried a lot. And then kara means because. So ippai naita kara means like, since I cried so much. Tsukarechatta. So tsukareru is a verb that means to get exhausted. And then tsukarechau is, again, we went over this chau form of verbs where if you drop the ru and change it to chau, you're changing it to the unfortunate form of that verb or the complete form of that verb. So tsukarechau means like to get exhausted, and it's bad that you're getting exhausted. And then chatta, if you drop the u and change that to a small tsu followed by a ta, that's just the past tense of that. So tsukarechatta means like, I'm beat, I got wiped out, and it's a bad thing, and I'm completely wiped out. So ippai naita kara tsukarechatta means like, I'm exhausted from all that crying. Mama mo anna ni. So anna ni means like in that way, to that extent. Mama mo, so mom, also to that extent. Okonnakute ii no ni. So okonnakute is slangy. It is supposed to be okoranakute. So okoranakute comes from okoru, which means to be angry. So okoranai means to not be angry. Okoranakute ii means it's okay if you don't get angry. So mama mo anna ni okoranakute ii no ni. It's like, mom didn't have to get that mad at me. It's like, come on, is that kind of attitude. And then you're just changing that da in okora nakute to okonnakute, and that just makes it slangy.
宿題もやる気しないし、ちょっと寝ちゃおっと。こういう時寝つきがいいと便利よね。
Shukudai mo. So you might remember shukudai from an earlier installment. It means homework. Yaruki nai. So yaruki nai means I am in no mood to do it, basically. Yaruki is in the mood to do something, and then nai changes it to the negative version. So I am in no mood to do my homework either. Shukudai mo either. So I am in no mood to do my homework either, and then I'm ending it in shi. You might remember in a former installment of this when she's listing the reasons why she can't ask her dad to get her a diamond ring. I think this was in either 1 or 2 installments ago in this series. And Usagi was listing the reasons why she couldn't get this thing. And you add shi at the end of each thing. So she's doing that here too. Shukudai mo yaruki nai shi. It's like, well, I don't have the energy to do my homework anyway, among other things. She's not going to go forward and list more things, but by having the she there, she's implying, well, and there are other reasons why. I'm going to do the next thing, and her next thing is chotto nechao to. So chotto is just for a little bit, and then nechao. So nechao comes from neru, which is to sleep. Nechau is to, again, it's that dropping the ru and changing it to chau, which changes it to like I'm doing this verb completely, and even though I really shouldn't be doing it. So yeah, it's like not bedtime yet, and she really should be studying for her next English test or doing some homework, but instead she's going to go to sleep. So it's nechau, and then she's changing the chau to chao, which is the let's do this thing version of the verb. So it's let's go to sleep for a little bit, or I think I'm gonna go to sleep a little bit, even though I should probably be studying. I just don't have the energy for it. I don't feel like it. I'm just gonna take a little nap, whatever. Koyu toki means in times like this. Koyu is a pretty common and useful phrase. So koyu x means this in time, koyu X means like this kind of X. So toki means time, so this kind of time, or in better English, in times like this. Netsuki ga ii. So netsuki ga ii means you fall asleep easily. Netsuki ga warui, which is me, means it's hard for you to fall asleep. So netsuki ga ii, easy to fall asleep. To, so in this case the particle to means when. So when you are easy to fall asleep in times like this. In times like this, when you fall asleep easily. Bendi yone, so bendi means convenient or handy. Yone is like, yeah, you know. So koyu toki, netsuki ga ii to bendi yone means like, wow, it's sure convenient. Like I'm really happy and fortunate and lucky that, you know, in times like this, that I fall asleep really easily. And that was the end of that installment, and consequently, subsequently, some word. I speak words good, I have the best words. Anyway, we are actually caught up now to where I did my very first installment of this series in this episode. The pilot installment. I don't want to call it episode because that gets confusing because this is an episode of Sailor Moon. The first installment I did on this series was the very scene that comes after this, when Luna then comes into Usagi's bedroom. Usagi thinks she's dreaming. Luna tells Usagi she's Sailor Moon and gets her to transform. So the next part of this series is already available. You can go look at it. I'm going to link it above my face right now so you can go look at it. And if I didn't do that, it's probably in the video description below. Anyway, thanks for watching this installment of Watch Sailor Moon Learn Japanese. I will be back with another one pretty soon. I make videos on this channel every Tuesday, and I'm going to be trying to do at least one of these kinds of videos per month where I am really breaking down in detail part of an episode of anime, for now it's Sailor Moon, and teaching Japanese through it. If you have any other suggestions of other anime series you want me to look at, or any other episodes of Sailor Moon specifically that you want me to look at, let me know in the comments below. And bye!